My Singing Monster is a very popular app with a gazillion million downloads, and you know, gamers seem to love it. Which is why, after having done the unboxing video a few weeks ago, I was really looking forward to playing this game and finding out if it is as fun as it looks. Now, we're going to find out if this game is actually worth the amount of money that you have to pay to get your hands on it. So play wheel. Okay, a couple of things before I begin. Firstly, I haven't played the full game. We've only managed to play the first and second levels, so there's still a lot to explore in here. So this is just my first impressions review as to what the rules feel like and what kind of issues we found when we played the game for the first time. Secondly, I am a good friend of Sam Fung Lim. He's a lovely, absolutely amazing guy, and I think so highly of him that if I kept thinking about him, I would probably die of hypoxia because he's an absolutely fantastic fella. So I just want you to know, because I received this game with a little bit of bias, because he's my friend, and Jay Cormier is also a brilliant guy. So just so you know. I backed this game in Kickstarter quite a while ago because I wanted the deluxe edition. That deluxe edition is not going to be available at the stores, which is a shame because it looks absolutely gorgeous, although it is, as you would expect, a bit overproduced because it is a deluxe edition of a game. So, having said that, this that you can see here is the setup for the 2 levels that I got to play for just 1 player. This game plays 2 to 5 people. There is no solitaire mode just yet. Hopefully there would be one. It would be very nice indeed, but there isn't at the moment, and we only got time to try the first 2 levels. So production wise, I mean, you can take a look at the unboxing video that I did. The rules are absolutely gorgeous. It was easy enough to read. We got lost a few times here and there that we needed to find out. And there were a couple of things that weren't completely clear to us from the very beginning. With English not being our first language, we did have to rejiggle things a little bit, which I will go into in just a moment. Having said that, the rules make very clear what the core mechanics and mechanisms of the game are and how to increase the level of difficulties by adding new worlds as the game progresses. So from that point of view, the thing I like the most is that you can start very simple with the beginner mode, and any child 8 years old or older will be able to get to grips with it, and most importantly, have a fun experience with. This is not a matter of being the game completely washed out of rules and without them the game suffers. Not at all. This has been a game that has been built from the bottom up. It is very clear, so it plays very well from the very beginning. So let me explain to you what we have on the table. Here to my right, we have the scoring board, which also serves as some sort of racing track. Because at the end of the game, this game is all about reaching this green line here. You can see that there are some gold coins, and these are the number of gold coins that you're finding. The first player to reach this green fringe here is the player that triggers the game end. After that, there is one more round to finish the turn, and that's it. That's it. The person with the highest number of points is the winner. That is all. Then we get the initial world, the beginning, which is like a garden. And then we have another world, which is like a frozen tundra, I suppose. And we have another 3, because they have 5 different levels that I haven't set on the table because, yes, you are going to need a big table to play this game at its fullest. Then we have down here a series of cards, and these are the monster cards with a number of elements. There are 5 elements in total, which you can see here on my left, which are air, stone, water, cold, and plant. And we have 3 different types of monsters. Easy monsters with just 1 element, medium with 2 elements, harder with 3, and then the epic ones with 4 elements. we have another two different types of cards. We have music sheets, the easy bit, and the hard one. We also get this woober box. I'm a bit about, and is that there isn't really space in the box for this. You have to assemble and dismantle it every time you play. This is not an issue because it's just 6 parts and they stuck very easily, but it's a little bit of a pain in the ass to have to do it every single time. But okay, fine. It's a deluxe edition of the game. We also have, every player is going to have their monster, and there are 5 of these, one for each player that's going to play. And each monster is going to have 2 different faces. The easy one, which got 3 lines here, and the hard one, in which each element has been given its own line. Now, every monster is going to have the elements in a different order. So you're not going to be able to play the same monster in the same way. You're going to have to think about where you're going to put these little cards. How do they play? You begin with the easy mode. And in the easy mode, you take an easy card and you make it match the lines here. This is your score sheet, your music sheet. What's going to happen is that you need to use the monsters in your hand, and you're going to have 3 of those, to combine with the element present in each world and create a new monster. So how does it play? I'm going to take 3 monsters. That will be my hand for the beginning of the game. The rule is, though, that these 3 elements in here, they must not be the same. They have to be completely different. And you keep the hand hidden. On the back, you're going to find the monsters that are going to breed. And some of these monsters, and this is why it's important to keep them hidden, are going to be rare and some are going to be epic. If they are rare, you can feed them into the woober box and they will give you a number of gold coins, points that you can score. And if they are epic, then they are going to trigger a mechanic that will attract the player that is ahead of you 1 step toward you, and the player who is behind you 1 step toward you. So it's a little bit of a way to gain some advantage against the people who are going faster than you, but also giving a little bit of an edge and advantage to the people who are lagging behind. So you have to play that wisely. How does it play? Right, you are going to choose an element in your hand that doesn't match the element on the boards. So for example, this time I want to use this green card in here because they are not the same. You are going to get 1 token of each of the elements, air and a plant, and you're going to put them on the corresponding slot or point in your music score. In this particular case, because I only have 1 space for 1 element, which actually happen to be air or plant, I'm going to fill it up. Any elements that I cannot use, I will put them here in the crash. The objective of the game is to fill up as many of these spots as possible, because each one is going to be 1 point that you will be able to advance when you score your sheet. You need to fill up the black dots before you can score. The gray ones are optional, but they will give you more points. So you can take a little bit longer to fill these up and score more points, or say that you have got later on a water, get rid of them and score your sheet for 1 point. If you have completed the sheet, then you turn it around and you keep this as 1 extra gold coin that you can change and utilize later on at any time, or you just leave them here. Why do you want to leave them here? You will be asking, Paco, why not just score in later on? I immediately, and so, well, there's one reason. For example, in this board, in the second one, you can buy these decoration cards. You can create a decor for your world. And in order to do that, you're going to put your cards in here. One thing I forgot to mention though, once you breed, you are going to take a card of a monster with a value of as many elements as the combined elements of these two. So in this case, I would take a blue one. This may look like a good thing, but remember that in order to breed, you must put a monster with a different element from what is already there. If, say, in the next round, I wanted to use this monster here for whatever reason, it would not breed because we have plant and plant. However, if I had put it here, it would breed because I have water, plant and air, and you would get a 3 monster, air, plant and water, which would mean that I have water, air and plant, and now I only need one more black dot to be able to score 4 points, or 2 points, and two elements to score 2 points and score 5 points, which would bring my little monster here. What's the difference with this one? With this one, every world is going to have a different way of behaving. For example, as I said, this one here, you can put things on the crash. You can use as many tokens here as you wish. So the surplus of tokens from the other players will be coming here, and at any point, any player will be able to take them up during the round, so they can use them to fill up the score sheet. Whereas in here, you will be able to, play this card, and by paying a number of gold coins, you will be able to get these decoration cards that are going to give you advantages, in brackets. What advantages are these? For example, every time one of your players to the left or to your right plays a green card or takes a green monster, then you take a green token that you will put on the card and then use later on whenever you want. Here, every time that somebody to your left or to your right plays a 3 elements monster on any board, you are going to get an air token. And here, every time that a monster jumps on another monster, you are going to get an air token. There are plenty more cards, so loads and loads of decorations. What does this mean jumping? Say, for example, I have 3 points here and 5 points here, and I am going to score 5 points. Well, I would go for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 monsters cannot be in the same slot, so I would jump and get to 6 and then get that advantage. Simple as that, right? That is all it takes. When we go to level 2, we turn the monster around and play with the difficult side of it. And the difficult side of it means that we're going to be using these score sheets, which also have 3 lines, but you have to choose where you want to put them to know what kind of elements you're going to have to go for in order to fill it up. It adds a little bit more of complexity without really throwing everything out of the water. I did like that quite a lot. So that's it. For what I played, this is it. And to be honest, the other worlds, they're just going to be adding a couple of extra rules. That's it. So once you know the basics, getting to understand the rest of the game, it isn't really that hard. You should be able to do it fairly quickly. But there are 2 things to keep in mind. One, increasing the complexity will also increase the level, the age of the people playing the game. I don't think with 6 boards an 8 or 9-year-old will be able to get to grips with it easily enough. And also it increases the amount of time that you're going to need to play the game, because there will be a lot more decisions that have to be made. For people with a little bit of analysis paralysis, This could be a tricky one at times. We played it with 3 people. With 3 people, the beginner level was really good fun. This board was completely useless. We really didn't use this at all. In fact, I used it and it played against me because it is essentially a racing game. The moment that you have to give up the resources that are going to allow you to score points, but the other players do not, they're just going to race ahead of you because this is not going to give you any advantage strong enough that you will be able to overcome that shortage of gold coins. So maybe with 4 or 5 players, it will work a little bit differently, but with 3 players, we didn't find that this was going to add anything to the game. I cannot talk about the other 3 because I don't know what they do. So I don't know what kind of advantage of this or disadvantages they're going to play. But unless there is something that doesn't just help you go faster, but hinders the advancement of the other players, I don't know how they are going to work. I will need to play the game to find that out. And that is my Singing Monsters. I really enjoyed the core game. I love the concept of getting the decorations, and with the decorations, getting advantages that will allow you to move faster. I really like that. Do I recommend this game? Yes, I think, especially for the younger ones, it would be really good. For the players who want something a bit more complex, I'm not sure because I haven't played everything, but I get the feeling that there are some hidden gems rules-wise here that I need to get into. Because I have left behind an awful lot of components that we didn't use, like the clefts tokens, like the snack tokens. There's some little emerald tokens as well, and it also came with a small expansion with different monsters within it. So there must be something there. There was one thing though that did confuse us an awful lot, and is that the rules tell you that you have to set up a number of monsters of each type before you can begin. So 5, 10, 10, 5, or I think it was, or 10, 5, 5, 10, whatever. But there was a limited number of each monster type for us to choose. I don't know if we did something wrong, but at one point we ran out of monsters. We literally had to take more monsters from the deck and put them there because we didn't have any more, and we didn't have very clear if we had to reshuffle the ones that we had already played or what we had to do. That is something that needs to be, for me, clarified. That I will check, on the BGG and see what people say. But apart from that, the whole experience was actually very good and very interesting. Even the beginner game, my friends and I were really, I'm going to use damn, I can't use this one because I need to use this other one, but if I use this one now, then maybe I can use that one, but if you screw me over, then I won't be able to. It was very much like that. So am I glad that I backed this, considering how absolutely beautiful it is, how simple it is to explain how the game plays, and what room for expansion there is that I still haven't tried. I'm very much looking forward to taking a look again at this game. So far, I am going to accept it as, yeah, recommended, without being, wow, recommended, because this left me a little bit underwhelmed with 3 players. Again, maybe with 5 it will be different, but with 3 players, this left me underwhelmed. So I need the other worlds, I need them to make up for this. But other than that, production-wise, it's absolutely gorgeous. The minis are beautiful. The rules are good. Just a couple of things here and there. So I think I'm going to give this game a very, very solid 7, with the potential of becoming an 8, and even 8.5 or 9, perhaps. But what do you think? I mean, have you played the whole thing already? Because I would love to hear what you have to say. I don't know if this game is going to be available in this version in stores. I believe the deluxe edition is not, but if you can find the standard edition, I will probably give it a go, especially if you have kids. And if your kids have played the app, you must get this because they're absolutely going to love it. And I am absolutely certain of that. But let me know. I would love to hear what you have to say. But until the next time, thank you very, very much indeed for being there. As always, it's truly and genuinely appreciated. And I will talk to you very, very soon. So play well.